here, win 5 times, and talk about naming the stadium after you.
Well, that was very flattering, I must say, and it has obviously been a great couple of weeks. To win this tournament 5 times is a fantastic achievement for my team and I. We don't take anything for granted, especially because this tournament has been for many players' favorite tournament, and you know, all the top players each year competing and trying to win it. It's just behind Grand Slams in terms of organization, the quality of facilities, the conditions. You know, players are very welcome. The spectators are sharing their passion and love for the sport with us, and in this kind of environment, you are obviously inspired to play your best.
Novak, on court, you said this tournament was deserving of a new level, a new category. I know Shanghai and Indian Wells are in talks to get this category.
Yes.
Are you pushing for it, and why?
Well, look, you know, I have a tremendous respect for the history of tennis and for Grand Slams. Especially, we all know that the Grand Slams are the most prominent tournaments we have, you know, in the history of our sports. But you know, that doesn't take away the possibility to grow other events within the ATP world. So I think this tournament, and you mentioned Shanghai and maybe a couple others, are willing to step it up, you know, and willing to, you know, compete for the higher level and a new category of the tournaments. And I don't see a reason why we should not allow them to do that. It's for the sake of players and sport, and you know, everything is evolving in life, and our sport should too.
You said today that there was a chance that it was touch and go if you would be able to make it to this tournament, this to your team. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
No, I was never in doubt that I'll make it to the tournament. It was just I arrived a day and a half later than I was supposed to because I've had a difficulty with health and you know, physically I was exhausted after that eye infection I had, and 3 days in a row playing Davis Cup, and the last day was 5 hours. So you know, that's why I took a little bit of time before I actually came in Indian Wells. But once I was here, I was starting to feel much better, and I ended up the tournament in the way that I wanted.
Novak, tournament director Roland generated some controversy earlier today. He made a comment saying women players should go down on their knees and thank the men for carrying the sport and saying they had everything to be responsible for. Just wondering what your thoughts are on that comment.
Don't know what to say. I've heard about it. Obviously, it's a very delicate and sensitive subject to talk about. Women deserve respect and admiration for what they're doing. You know, the equal prize money was a main subject of the tennis world in the last 7-8 years. So I've been through that process as well, and I understand how much power and energy WTA and all the advocates for equal prize money have invested in order to reach that. And I applaud them for that. I honestly do. They fought for what they deserve, and they got it. On the other hand, I think that our men's tennis world, the ATP world, should fight for more, because the stats are showing that we have much more spectators on the men's tennis matches, and I think that's one of the reasons why we should get awarded more. But again, we can't complain, because we also have a great prize money, and men's tennis is at the right moment in the right time. And I don't know what Raymond Moore was exactly referring to when he was saying that, but this is all I can say from my perspective.
But you would say that you don't think the prize money should be equal
Listen, again, my answer to you is not yes and no. It's women should fight for what they think they deserve, and we should fight for what we think that we deserve. And I think that as long as it's like that, and there's a data and stats available, information, upon who attracts more attention, the spectators, who sells more tickets and stuff like this, then in relation to that, I think it has to be fairly distributed.
So if the stats show at some point that women's tennis attracts more attention, men should get that?
Absolutely.
And talk about one of the great things about our sport is not only WTA and ATP, but the entire interaction of men and women in this global sport. Do you think you'd be here today without your first host, Yelena, and talk about them?
No, I wouldn't be. That's why I'm don't get me wrong. I have as I said, tremendous respect and for what women in global sport are doing and achieving. It's knowing what they have to go through with their bodies, and their bodies are much different than men's bodies, and they have to go through a lot of different things that we don't have to go through. And the hormones and different stuff. We don't need to go to details. Ladies know what I'm talking about, but it's really for great admiration and respect for them to be able to fight on such a high level. And many of them, they kind of have to sacrifice for a certain period of time. The family time or decisions that they make with their own bodies, and in order to play the tennis and to play the professional sport. So I appreciate that, and I've had a woman that was my coach, and that was a huge part of my tennis career. I'm surrounded with women. I'm very happy, obviously, to be married with one and to have a child. So I'm completely for women power.
Novak, do you think the language that Ray Moore used was offensive? He said that if I was a lady player, I'd go down every night on my knees and thank God that Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal were born.
I think we have to be fair to say that it's not politically correct. I mean, it was maybe exaggerated a little bit, but that's just my opinion.
Novak, you said during your speech that your team was tolerating a lot coming from you, and you thanked them for that. Was it more this week than the other weeks, or can you just dwell on today?
That stays between my team and I, but they know exactly what I was talking about. And I mean, you go through these moments of battle and tension, and they are the people that I focus my attention to, other than the court itself and the opponent. My box is there to give me strength and energy and support, and sometimes they have to tolerate some tantrums, but generally we have a nice relationship.
You talked the other day about instincts and pattern recognition of your opponents. Do you think that's subconscious as well as conscious? And do you think that's what separates sort of the top five from the rest of the field?
Well, conscience, I think it touches the material, the physical part, where you can actually do something that is tangible, which means prepare yourself mentally with video analysis, the data, the stats, the previous experiences, and subconsciously, I think it relates to yourself and to how well you're prepared, how well you're moving, and how focused you are on the court and on your opponent. And that, I think, in combination, I think you're right, because subconscious and conscious are directly linked, and when you're able to kind of be present, when you're able to understand the both and grasp both sides, you're able to be in the present moment, which I think most of the professional athletes call in the zone kind of moment.
And does that separate sort of the great ones from the sort of rest of the field?
Well, I mean, you can call it differently. I mean, I just know how it works for myself, and I can see that there is a lot of professional athletes on a very top level in different sports that explain it in maybe different words, but they are thinking about more or less the same thing that I'm thinking about as well. So it all comes down to more or less the same thing, being able to use and maximize your potential as an athlete in every aspect of your being.
Novak, excuse me for this question, especially since you just had such a fantastic day, but many of us won't see you before Paris. Could you talk about Roland Garros, the gap in your resume, what you're planning to do, what your thoughts are?
Well, I'm planning to play many more tournaments before Roland Garros, first of all, in order to get myself ready and respect the schedule and the other tournaments, which I think it's important if we want Indian Wells or the other ATP tournaments to become bigger and kind of close the gap with Grand Slams. We need to also respect the value of those tournaments and not talk only about Grand Slams, if you know what I mean. I'm not criticizing you, but I'm just talking in general. But Roland Garros has been and is this year again one of the top priorities of the season, and I felt like I've been coming closer and closer to the title in the last couple of years. I'm not going to change much in terms of preparation for the event. I think the schedule is going to be the same, except I'm still planning to play Madrid, which I didn't in the last 2 years. And I think in order to get yourself in a match-ready situation, you need to play, matches on that surface before, at least 2 tournaments, strong tournaments. So that's what I'm going to do. And again, I grew up on clay. I love playing on clay. I still haven't won that Grand Slam played on clay courts, but I've gotten very close a couple of times, and I know that it doesn't take too much more to win the trophy. So I'm going to keep on going and believing that maybe I can reach it this year.
Last question, break in the back.
You just used the term "in the zone." How much of that played part today? Were you in a zone today when you played the final?
I was, and I'm just glad to be able to raise the level of my game as the tournament progresses, and that's something that I've been doing in the last 2 years, particularly on the big events. I've been managing to win most of the big matches against top 10 players. Obviously I have the certain routine and certain preparation for these big matches that works for me again. Everybody is different, but I will try to follow that kind of routine and get myself in that state of mind where I'm able to get the best out of myself when it's most needed.
Thanks very much.